Hello and welcome, everyone. This is Michelle Howe. I have a wonderful person today that I'm going to be talking to and sharing more about. I would like you to welcome Debra V. She is a psychic medium. Hi, Debra V.
Good morning, Michelle. Thank you for the invitation. I'm looking forward to this.
You're welcome. I'm going to tell the audience a little bit about you. So if there's any more, there's a lot more that's going to come up during our conversation. But a little bit about Debra is that she's certified as a psychic medium, an intuitive consultant through the Holistic Studies Institute, under the tutelage of one of the top 10 New York State psychic mediums. An extensive program is what this was, with a syllabus that covered everything necessary for growth and development to serve others. She further went ahead and studied many other different areas of energy healing, became a master healer, and with Fire Reiki and Usui and Karuna. She is empathic,
Yes.
which we like that. A combination of all these studies and spiritual belief blessed her with the natural given insights to reach into the solar plexus of one's existence. By doing so, she can help them discover and heal to become the authentic self that they are here to be. She conducts regular readings and instills in all of her clients the willingness to listen and develop their intuitive gifts, because everybody has them. She desires to teach the masses, and she's been guided with terminology and a scientific approach to teach individuals to comprehend and recognize their intuitive and empathic abilities. She also has an interest in quantum theory, which I love. She's developed deep practices with meditation and information and tools to help all of us. So welcome, Debra.
Nice job. Thank you.
Thank you.
I couldn't have said that any better myself.
Oh, no. So, Debra and I have been talking for a good hour now, just before we started this interview. And there are a lot of things that we want to bring to the table, our audience and you listening. We want to cover what it was like being empathic, not to a huge degree, but growing up, what signs there were, and, some of the trauma that she, and along with all the rest of us, have gone through, and how she's progressed on her journey, and, some key things that she would like empaths to know, to keep in mind as they go forward, because really we're traversing a very interesting part of our evolution. So if you are listening, you're one of my peeps, and you know that we really are. The sensitivity is a gift when we know how to use it and what it means and where we're going with it. And the more light we can embody, the more we can become skilled in what we are and who we are, and carry that energy with us day to day, the better we can not only live our lives, but impact every other thing around us. So with that being said,
that's all part of that collective consciousness that we
absolutely. Yes. Collectively, there's a lot we brought up as we were talking before. We brought up the 7 deadly sins, which sounds very spiritual, but the 7 deadly sins. And she goes, what did you say? You need to look at the 7 deadly Tell me your take on the 7 deadly sins, which are really patterns, challenges, states of humanity, of how we're being in the world.
Yes. We're spiritualists living a human experience. Okay. And some of those challenges that we face on a daily basis is the interaction of other human beings, forgetting that we're spiritualists to begin with. But our human form takes precedence over that because our senses, our clairs, have been diminished. And a good majority of the population does have empathy, but it's been subdued or calloused or not brought to the surface because they possess some of those human forms of deadly sins or existence, which I think we were just discussing: anger, jealousy, pride, gluttony, sloth,
greed. So it's pride, jealousy, gluttony, anger, sloth, lust, and greed.
In our conversation, we were reflecting about our interactions with others
right.
and what triggers within us something we don't like with somebody else, maybe one of those sins, let's say, or something that they possess that we don't like with them, is usually a mirror reflection that we don't like within ourselves that has to be addressed. And all of those, I want to say challenges, not so much sins. Okay.
Right.
All of those challenges, and they could be broader than that, are obstacles to
Yeah.
recognize who we are as self.
Well,
I am in our development of opening our heart with love. Our empathy is and should be all love based. So if there's something that triggers us with interaction in another human being,
right.
we're lacking that full element of love, because we have to accept that person as they are, who they are, and not try to change them because they're on their own path.
Well, I think, okay, so this brings up,
We're
awake,
pretty deep
we're
in here.
awake, awakening, spiritualist, gifted, psychic, medium, all these like empowered women, we're here to really change and serve the world and help other people.
Yes,
But we have to start with ourselves.
absolutely.
And that's kind of a very humbling place to be, because you're human. So as a human, collectively, on a collective level, we would have been raised to be human, not necessarily raised to be spirit.
Correct.
We're raised to be human. So human beings, natural element, we all want to succeed. We all take a lot of pride in who we are, what we do, what we stand for, what's right, and we think that we may find fault with what's around us, because there's a lot to find fault with. So how do you be your spirit without finding fault with what's around you? Because on a collective level, at a quantum physics level, who you're being in any moment either makes things worse or better. Do you know what I mean?
Acceptance.
Yes.
Acceptance, not only for yourself and all the traumas and everything that you carry, okay, including all your faults, okay, because the I am is I am, and there's nobody more important than who you are, but acceptance of the other person, regardless of what you like or dislike about them,
or where they are on their
are.
evolution, or what they're learning, or what they've done, what they stand for, like all the things that you see. If you look at people like as diamonds, right? So some diamonds are very, very perfect, bright, shining diamonds all the time, right? But if you look under certain elements, you're going to see magnifying glasses. There's a lot of little imperfections in that diamond.
I can guarantee you those diamonds have a lot of traumas, calluses, pain. Okay. On the surface, they look good, but if you look at the subconscious, even the little things can trigger, but they mask it well. And there's a lot of that going on in society.
Masking.
Yeah, and that's why some people can't go to the darker side rather than the lighter side, because they don't know how to reason with what's happening within them as far as the subconscious social acceptances and the spiritual acceptances and the
They're hurt.
direction that
They're
we're on.
hurt. This brings us to, how you said calloused heart that's not open, a heart that doesn't know how to love, that the heart that's not trusting. A lot of that happens because you're protecting yourself. You've been hurt before. You don't want to feel that feeling. So you kind of shut down the heart.
Right.
And you become a very muted version of who you really are.
You distance yourself from people. You become judgmental. Okay. Because you look at everything with a calloused spirit or an attitude.
It's
So
closed. You're
not
closed.
closed. By not opening your heart, you're actually hurting yourself. The more you open your heart and the more that you exchange the love that you have to offer and who you can be as being yourself and acceptance of yourself, that has a ripple effect around everybody around you. Because then they see that You can be pure. If you can live life to the fullest and be happy with who you are and accept others, it has an impression on other people to have that same desire or that reasoning factor to connect with you at a different vibration and frequency, because we are all vibration and frequency, which is energy. If you can operate at a higher vibration and frequency and constantly maintain that, or actually improve it with those loving around you and finding your tribe, hopefully you have the impact of the ones that are lower vibration frequency will listen when they're ready, and you'll bring them up with you to make that collective consciousness of pure love that we all need and should be living by, which is our spiritual existence of energy.
Right. So there really is no rushing someone, shaming someone, wishing someone different. You can, at a spiritual level, send someone positive energy, send them prayers, wish, project good things energetically towards them, see them.
Share your beliefs, but
Right.
don't instill it and don't challenge them with it. Just share it. If they're ready, they'll understand it. If they're not, you'll know that that's where the line is.
Yeah.
And I recently was talking to somebody who had a lot of questions, and I was giving them what I was sharing and feeling and trying to get them to understand. But in the whole circle of it, their biggest problem, aside from fear, was anxiety, and they haven't healed from that, whatever that trigger is that created that within them.
They couldn't hear
They're
you.
not there in order to grow. They need to have that healed. Healing is a big part of our empathy in our existence.
I almost want to
Literally.
say, as an empath that's in training to help yourself and then to help others, we are able to bridge a lot of things, and people can hear us, but maybe only in small doses, not in, everybody needs a certain things they can hear, certain things they cannot hear, which it means that we have to kind of make a determination over what is me talking to the wall,
Right.
versus me being effectively helpful to that person at that moment, and not expecting or feeling let down or being upset by, because if you invest too much of yourself in the outcome, what is the outcome? How much am I helping them? I need to help them understand. Like, it becomes invasive and then it becomes you being too vested in somebody else's life.
If you find you're getting frustrated trying to make a point,
yeah,
then it's not worth it because they're not ready.
right.
You can start at a superficial level of just understanding and giving them a hug and telling them, you love them, and that just accept them for who they are. But then there are other people that want to absorb everything. Okay, that they're ready and they're learning to open their heart. It is a challenge for empaths, so you do have to make a determination at what point, in some instances, for your own betterment, to sever some connections. I have had a friend, she's still a friend. Anytime I'm with her, she drains me, just empathically drains me. And I've even said, I can't be around you. You just drain me.
But is she doing something for that, or is it just her?
Part of it's her energy or her neediness.
Yeah.
She has a strong neediness. And I love her for that. And I understand it. She's aware, but I don't think she's aware of to the degree of the neediness. Okay. So small doses. And then I'll need a couple days, like any empath, maybe to regroup, heal, and become balanced and centered again. Because when that happens, it affects you emotionally, mentally, physically,
So certain people are not lifting you up. It's not an equal exchange. It's more they need help, and you're giving to them, not necessarily consciously, but it's helping because you hold this vibration and you're going down to her vibration. Ideally, she's moving up to your vibration, but if she's not making that invitation, if she can't make that invitation, then it ends up being taxing on you because you're holding the space for that.
Empaths will always attract those individuals that need deep healing. Our light is so bright, okay? Our aura, our energy, we radiate it emotionally, mentally, physically. And I'm sure a lot of your empaths out there have recognized that because you seem to be the advisor. Okay, so we attract them. We attract the wounded. And we'll give the advice. And I'm sure, and this is where the intuition, as far as a psychic medium or psychic, because we're all born with it. Okay. Medium's a little different, but the psychic part of it. But this, when you're giving advice empathically, okay, because this person's approached you and you're sharing what you feel is best for them. And then later on you reflect and you go, you know, that was some pretty good advice. Okay. And it was like advice that you might not have typically given. Well, that was actually divinely given through you. That was your intuition speaking on their behalf. That person was brought to you to use your empathy to help them grow.
Well,
and to help heal them.
What you're coming to is that we are here to serve.
Absolutely.
Even if we don't even say a word, there's a purpose to every interaction that we have with people, every response, because once someone, we are all one on a higher level.
You'd
So
be amazed. Not only are we one, but every inanimate object, this is quantum physics, creating reality, okay? It could be, it doesn't really exist. Your desk, the lamp behind you, whatever. We're all connected to that because it at one point in time was a living and is still an existing life to it. It has a purpose. So that one goes way beyond that. It's a dimensional reality, quantum physics. Okay. The impact we have as empaths on everybody, I make it a point. We have like a local stewards here or something, just like wherever you get your gas or something. If I give the money or I'm buying something, I make a point to interact with that person. Hi, how are you today? And I smile and I'm genuine about it because that's an exchange of positive energy that person might not have gotten from 20 customers ahead of me or behind me or whatever. So it's important to make people feel that they are loved, they are needed, even if it's a smile or holding a door open or whatever, letting somebody go through in traffic, whatever. It has that ripple effect. It does. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it does.
Well, everything matters. You don't know what another person's life is. Just a hello could be all they needed that day to avoid something that was lesser than for them. You know, it's all important. What came to mind as you were talking was the engagement in relationships where, you know, we all have these heavier patterns, energies, anger, resentment. Like we all are holding light plus our humanity, right? So that human aspect of us is always looking, it seems like naturally, we're looking out, right? We're finding things that are off with other people. We are having relationships. We're buying and selling. We are becoming good friends with. We are, you know, we're always interacting, and how relationships are really a good place to start with your healing. Like what are you attracting? What's happening? And what I find a lot of empaths run into is being damaged or being judged by another person. Like I'm not, so the human tendency, I guess, here is what I want to point out is it's not my thing, it's your thing. I'm not wrong, you're wrong. You need to do this. You made it.
Oh, nobody's wrong.
The
point is nobody's wrong. Everybody's finding their own path. So you have to respect everybody regardless. Okay. It's not like, oh, you're wrong, I'm right, or I'm right, you're wrong. Nothing like that at all. It's just an acceptance as who that person is. And that starts
and being able to see who they are, being able to see, because if you believe someone's throwing garbage on you and you believe the garbage that they say about you, or that you're wrong here and you did this and you did, like being able to learn that awareness piece of the mirroring that can happen, how most people do not want to face what we call their shadow. They're never at fault. It's always somebody else's fault, unless you find a very high vibrational person who is self-aware of themselves.
You're talking about the mirror, the trigger mechanism that mirrors yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're talking to me and all of a sudden I'm annoyed over something you said or didn't like something you said, it's really a reflection on who I am. If I didn't like it in you, I possess that.
Yeah.
And I have to come with the realization that it triggered me. Why I didn't like it? Because I'm probably a good offender of that. I most likely do the same thing. It just mirrored back to me. So you have to reason with that or recognize it for what it is and learn. And that's the hard part. Learn how to resolve that within you. You can't change anybody. You have to accept everybody there is. But we can always improve ourselves one way or another. The best way to do that is to open your heart. Learn how to get over your traumas, recognize the triggers, stop yourself from doing it. Prayer. I was telling you my routine every day, right?
Yep,
You start your day off. The
You wanna-
shower is the
you want
best
to
thing.
fill, you want to fill up, right? You want to fill up. As an empath, it's cleaning, not just the outside, the inside, and filling back up each
Yes.
day. So tell our audience the wonderful routine you have.
Yeah, because you were surprised at this. Okay. Well, especially as women, I'm not saying men don't have this scenario as well, but as women, once we start our day, forget it. We don't have any time for ourselves. So once you're in the shower, that is your sacred confined space. That is yours, 10, 15 minutes, whatever. One thing I do on a daily basis, and I really encourage my clients and everybody to do this, especially when I'm around people, they think I'm nuts, but it works, is to start your day with a cry. I think it's very important to cry. Crying actually helps your emotional base. It helps you grow. It opens up the heart. You had asked, what do I have to cry about? Once you start crying, you'd be amazed at what surfaces subconsciously. And I still get things from childhood or random, like last week ago, that might have triggered me subconsciously that I wasn't aware of, that I know I have to address. But it's never, why did this happen to me? It's more like, what is the lesson to be learned here?
Mhm.
So that cry and recognizing whatever that deep wound or trauma or annoyance, it could be anything. Oh my God. I could probably give you a whole range, but each one is unique to you. And it could be something as stupid as, oh, damn, I know I should have held that door open for that person, or I have to apologize because I know I was wrong there. And apologizing to somebody can create a whole enormous sensation of love welling up in you. When your heart is open and your chakras are balanced, you actually feel the excitement of existence in every moment. And we should be living every moment, not the past. And the moment creates the future. So if you live the moment with enthusiasm, you're creating that enthusiasm for the next minute.
If you're holding that energy, so if your energy is sputtering along and doing what it needs to do, you're going to feel okay. So what you're saying is, make sure you get some kind of practice in place for yourself to fill up and stop getting drained. Like, you're going to mitigate what you do. You have that awareness piece that you need to learn during your day, but then you have to clean out, balance, fill up. Like, each day is this. So you become more spirit as you step forward. You mentioned balancing the chakras.
Yes.
Is this a skill that someone needs to go to a class to learn or to a program to learn, or is this something that they can easily do on their own?
You can do it on your own. There's a lot of nice chakra meditations. I have one, and I'd be more than willing to share it later. But there are many out there. The one that I use actually is only like 7 minutes, and you will know. Your body will know. You intuitively will know when you have to do it. Okay. Sometimes you have to do it a couple days a week or once every 3 months or something of that nature. But the one that I do use explains what the colors are, the location, the frequency. Okay, because we are vibration and frequency, its purpose, and it coaches you on how to clear them, like cylinder with blocks on it, and how to shed those blocks to create the free flow of universal energies through the crown chakra, which I like to say funnel, that goes through you and grounds you to Mother Earth. In the shower, when I had my cry and I'm setting my tent and I'm learning, I use one of the poofs, the loofah, where you put your liquid soap on. And I do use a black African exfoliating soap that I'll put it on here. It smells like Mother Earth. And when I breathe in through my nose and exhale, I'll listen to my exhale. When you do that, it is a quick form of meditation. And I typically will do that 3 times. But what I do on my loofah, because I have 2 levels of master teacher Reiki levels, okay, Usui and Karuna Holy Fire, I put symbols on my loofah and breathe them in too and say what I have to with intent. But when I lather myself up, I'm taking that lathering and I'm seeing all of those symbols. And it could be the sign of the cross. It could be anything. It could be your initials. Doesn't matter. As long as you believe that that is pure for you. Okay. And then you're feeling all that intent. Okay. The love or whatever you need to. And as I'm lathering up, I am actually surrounding myself with white light. Okay. It's the barrier as an empath that we need to help protect us from the drain of the existence that we have on a daily basis, moment by moment. But as I'm rinsing myself, the negativity of yesterday's traumas or trials or tribulations or negative energies is going down that drain.
Yeah.
So important to do that. Now, I'm going to say this because I don't think I told you this, but if you do this chakra meditation, okay, or anytime you do a chakra meditation, it is going to, I'll be nice, I won't say the word I'd like to say, it's going to screw with your emotions big time. So be aware of this, because you could be set and all of a sudden you're going to want to feel like you got to cry, or you're going to feel this rage of anger, or you're just going to be annoyed or something. Ask yourself, is it mine? Why? But recognize, yes, all right, 2 nights ago, I did a chakra meditation balance. I'm coming into balance. Because you've already ruled out that you're okay. You're not angry or anything. And you may have surveyed those people around you. Okay, no, they don't look angry. I don't think they're depressed. You can feel that. Just recognize that you're coming into balance. And after you balance, you'll feel freer, you'll feel lighter, you'll feel more energetic, because everything we're taking in from everybody is actually disturbing our energy flow with our chakras. The chakras is the first elemental thing we can do for ourselves as an empath, a psychic, a medium, right? I know you probably have something to say.
So it does, from your experience,
yes,
when you do this chakra balancing, it may take a little bit for everything to come back into integration, and like you're going to feel better, but a day or 2 later, you may feel some different feelings coming to the surface.
Yes.
Things are still kind of moving along. It's like cleaning something up.
You're purging.
And then what's there needs to come out even more. The final step of the way. So just give it time. It's the important thing, I think, is to get into a rhythm of what you do and to start to learn who you are, what you feel like vibrationally, and to use your voice. So when you use your voice, you're activating your spirit.
Vibration and frequency.
Vibration and frequency. And as you move down your journey, you will notice your voice will change and shift as more and more of you is spirit that moves through you.
Very, very well said, because our voice carries the vibration and frequency. I said that we're all born with this, okay? And empathy is relatively, in the last 5 to 6 years, one of the clears that's becoming more upfront. There's always been clairvoyance, it's hearing. You don't hear here, you hear here. Clear audience, okay, your third eye, okay, I see a film strip. Clear, and I always get this one, clear alliance, okay, some say olfactory, but I think alliance is the correct one. Clear gustance, taste. Clear sentience, the feeling, okay. Clear cognizance, you know, you don't know how you know, but you know. Okay, these are all your intuition, okay. Clear, and when I say clear, it's CLAIRE, clear empathy. And the latest one is clear kinetic. clear kinetic, and this is fascinating because I do have this, is the feeling of angels, guides, beings, or other dimensions within your existence. And you can get this in conversation with individuals, or even in prayer, or laying down at night, especially between the hours of 3 to 5, when the veil is the thinnest, you may actually get this. It triggers differently in everybody, but it can be goosebumps on you. It's just this physical impact on you that sends a chill through you or something. I don't know how to explain it any more than that. For me, I get clear kinetics if I'm giving a message to somebody. My shins actually get goosebumps, which is kind of strange, but everybody gets it different because we all have our own vocabulary, we all have our own encyclopedia, and we all are who we are. Now, as an empath, if somebody's seeking you out for advice, that person has been sent to you divinely, because your background, trauma, similarities
Could help.
have a connection
Yeah.
at a subconscious level, and they're being sent to you. And when you give the advice or the message, you're actually helping them at a molecular cellular level, which has an impact on their DNA, let's say, it's quantum physics, that can make a difference in the direction they go on in the rest
Yeah,
of the
sometimes it's not always visible how you impact another person. I
Yes.
mean, a lot of this is not happening physically. It's happening on a level of who someone's becoming. You're
Mhm.
expanding their mind, you're helping open their heart, you're just helping them become more of who they are, which isn't just it is a thing over time that becomes a big impact on another person's life.
Yeah. You set them on their path, and they're so forever grateful. You may never see them again, but the self-satisfaction that you get knowing that you served your purpose as well,
Right.
especially empathically, has a big thing, because then again, your aura expands, your light gets even bigger, and then you bring in the next one. And they make it even more challenging as you get time on. And that's where you may be drained a little bit more. Look at it as maybe part of that challenge for your own personal growth, because each person that impacts us has a growth mechanism to it too, to open our hearts. Ultimately, everything we do should be from our hearts.
Yeah.
Always. You should never think it through. You have to feel it through. That's what an empath
I,
does.
I always said, like, I always operated as a very logical person. I was an accountant, a CPA. I mean, I can logically see a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
I like that, but I always like the creative side and how we use these numbers to make this better. But when it came to making decisions, like, I didn't find out till I was 40, I was empathic. But it answered a lot of questions about the way I functioned, because I would have to get up close and personal to a decision, and black and white meant nothing to me. I had to feel which direction to go in, and I couldn't feel it till I got up close and personal. Oh yeah, I'm leading this. This is the right way. This is the way. This is the way I'm going.
You're being pulled, right? Your
Yes, I'm
clairsentience
being
is taking
told that way, go this
Mhm.
way. Or when something is not right, I'm unsettled with it. I'm unsettled. I'm like, what?
Trust your gut.
On my logical mind said, yes, we're doing this. We're doing this. And then I get right to the door. I'm like, I can't go in. I can't go in. Why can't I do that? And it makes all the sense in the world, but it's not my path. It's not where I need to go. So being able to, and sometimes it takes being around someone that holds that vibration to know and wake you up to some of these things.
It's part of your tribe.
The stillness, the trusting, the moving with the flow of where you're going, instead of needing to know every step of where you're going. And, I get it. We want to know, but sometimes we're not ready to know. And what we have, even the slightest idea that we're knowing, isn't far from where we're actually going. We're actually going over here. So it's like trusting that path, knowing that we're always on that path, even though it might be a bumpy road ahead. So I guess I want to go to, my awakening. I want to hear your awakening. If you had a moment in time when you awakened more, or what brought you to where you are today. The biggest parts of that, because I know we don't have a ton of time, but it's
like an aha moment, right?
It's
the aha moments.
The aha moment that I'm not crazy, or there's a purpose to what I'm
I'm
doing,
always going to be crazy.
or yeah. There's always moments. There's always moments.
Well, I first became aware, my early occurrence was with an angel about the age of 4 or 5. I had something happen and the angel presented themselves, and it was like, you know my story. I could say it's almost like a life or death situation, right? And
Right.
the angel presented itself, and but I didn't recall that until later in my life. What had happened was, oh goodness, it was probably 15, 20 years ago. Now, mind you, I had been doing psychic medium readings my whole life, and I didn't know this. I was at work giving somebody advice. I had an auditor from another agency that was there at file cabinets doing something, and heard me give a message to somebody. She saw me in the restroom later, and she said, "Hey, let's go to a movie or something. You want to get together?" I said, "Fine." She had to wait, though. She was an auditor. Okay. Time went. We got to go to this movie, and she goes, "You want to go to a circle?" Like, instead of going to the movie, it's cheaper. You'll have a good time. Circle. What do you mean? "Oh, modern day seance." I said, "Okay, fine." So,
Very, very receptive. Very
yeah,
receptive.
yeah. But her point was, she goes, "I'm going to encourage you to go because I overheard you, and I believe you're a psychic.
Yeah.
I think you're a psychic medium." And I'm like, what does that mean? Really, I didn't know. But I've learned that, and for people out there, because we're all born with this, okay? P for psychic is reading for a person, their present, past, or future for them, okay? And we do that on a daily basis. We all do that. That's the messages you give that you reflect on, or but you don't know how you know. Anyway, a medium, okay, is somebody that knows how to bring spirit in to read for those that have passed. And that takes a little bit more through meditation, but it is all vibration and frequency and energy. Okay. And we all possess that. Okay. Long story short, I go to this event. I visually see a being. There's more to this. I saw energy, saw colors, lights, this dark room. There's 30 people in there. They give a message prayer. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, well, my friend, I thought she fell asleep. I hear her breathing heavy, and I look, and there was this green slime, looked like on the floor, but it looked like a toddler about the size of 8. And I'm looking, I'm like, what is it? And as I'm looking at it, my left side's getting heavy, and I'm feeling this pain, but I'm still curious. All of a sudden, it turns its head, because I think I see a toddler, turns its head, and then I see a set of eyes. You know how they say eyes to the soul? Besides all that glowing green, I saw the eyes. And all of a sudden it came up to me, to my eyes. I closed my eyes. I was like, okay, I don't know what that was. But later on, they closed the circle. Everybody's talking. And I shared this experience. And they said, "What's the message?" I went, "Message? I don't even know what I saw." But they asked to see me later. And they suggested I get formal training. And I took a couple years training with one of the top 10 in New York State and became a certified psychic medium. And that was, oh my goodness, excess maybe 15 years now. So that was aha. But after that, the development and going into Reiki, and then my empathy, I would say, is probably in the last 8 years, 7 or 8 years, because it's really just starting to be recognized as a clair.
But it was there all along. But it was there all along.
It had to be there all along, but I wasn't aware of it. But
Yes.
a lot of it surfaced after I healed. I've been through 6, 7 years of therapy, the crying. I've had a lot of trauma in my past since the age of 8 on upward, multiple traumas. That I had calloused the heart. I couldn't open the heart, and I'm not trusting, and just wasn't open to everybody. But through the therapy, professional therapy, and Reiki was a big one for me. And I still meet with a group of Reiki sisters. I'm due to meet with them in a couple of weeks. That helped me developed with the healing my empathy.
Yeah.
When you start living from the heart,
It's different. It's different.
your sensations as far as your emotions, you tune into everybody. Now, for those that question what the empathy is, let's say you're in a crowded elevator, okay, and there's 6 or 7 people. You know you're fine, you're having a good day, you're strumming along, and all of a sudden you get depressed. Oh, or you're feeling anger, or you've got this level of excitement that you're not really sure about. And I know I expose this, I don't know if I should say, but if you're really, really good at this, you can almost experience when somebody's had a relationship, let's say sexual relationship, or had sex the night before. Okay, I'm just saying, gotten to that level. It's not something you can turn this off, by the way. Okay. The point is, you have to question whether or not it's yours. You know, you didn't have sex last night, okay, but you feel like that. It's somebody within that group, and you can pinpoint them by the clear sense of the feel and your intuition being drawn. You're actually being drawn to that location for that person that may have the anger or the depression. I can't tell you how many people come to me for readings, suicide based. They're considering suicide or something of that nature, or they've been impacted by suicide. And part of that might be my acknowledgement or awareness through trauma. Maybe part of my past.
Well, there's always they gravitate to you because there's something that they don't know, but they think you can help them. It's not logical. It's just a feeling.
Yeah. Well, spirit connects you always with your background because you guys have this similar connection.
Yes. So
it's true with your empathy too.
I'm curious if you can tell the audience, when you have I have to cut this. Well, we have a little bit of time.
Oops, sorry guys.
Let's talk about, no, we could talk for hours. But we're not going to keep
round 2.
We'll do a second one. Calloused heart, Debra.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what that looks like so that people know, you know, maybe 100% callous, maybe 50%, maybe 20% callous. Like, what does a person with a calloused heart look like and behave like?
It's different from everybody. I can tell you when I feel it in others and from my own experiences, severe depression, but it's masked very well. On the outside, you are the cream of the crop. You are on your toes, you're extremely happy, but your core, your solar plexus is suffering because you carry a lot of saddened weight, a lot of depression. So if you are in the company, if you have your own, and empaths, we feel everything, but I think we feel more depression and sadness because we carry the weight of everybody, not only ourselves, but everybody around us and the state of the world.
We'll feel it, so that if you don't really take care of yourself, you may end up holding more and more and more,
which impacts us health, mental, emotionally, physically, everything. Physical, yes. You create your own reality. So I mean, if you believe that you have a pain and you manifest on that pain, you will continue to have that pain. But you can use vibration and frequency healings, which is available on YouTube, to target certain areas. And I think I told you I looked at some frequency heart healing to help that as well. With different things, yes. But the learning in the process too, and the cry in the shower was probably my biggest advocate for healing.
I mean, that's what I'm taking away for sure, is to be almost proactive about allowing this crying to come to the surface and not needing to know or feeling weak when you do it or being vulnerable, allowing it as a purging technique on purpose to actually even alert you to things that you're not even conscious about. Like, get yourself in a state where you're going to let that happen, and it's going to be precious and amazing and sacred in its way. And then you can journal afterwards what it is that actually happened or was released. So it becomes a relationship with your guides, with yourself, and the more you have that, because, you know, when you say to people, love yourself, you need to love yourself. You need to love yourself. Well, a lot of the empaths that I see, their heart opens when it comes to helping someone else. They will like put themselves under a bus to help someone else. But when you ask them to focus on themselves, the love doesn't flow this way. It only flows that way. Right. I'm like, well, wait a minute. How are you giving love away if you don't love?
If you don't possess it yourself, you can't give it to others. If your heart isn't open, then what you're giving isn't pure. So you have to be open. You have to live from the heart. Every decision, everything you do, everything you
Well, when
make
you live
should
from
be
the
pure.
heart, you're
Everything you say
you
should
have to
be
take
pure.
care of this vessel.
Yes.
Otherwise, this heart and this vessel cannot, and I really mean that seriously, physically,
Yes.
mentally, emotionally, they kind of go
mentally.
together, spiritually, but that physical element, a lot of empaths are not grounded.
Correct.
Because the energy grounded is very heavy. It feels much better up here.
Yes.
Feels much better, you know, in my head. I'll be just thinking everything. Well, you have to get in your body.
Yes. You want that balance.
Yeah. So it's a slower, heavier energy in the body. But if you can slow down the way you speak, slow down the way you engage in things, all of a sudden that becomes enjoyable too, as opposed to, you know, what is it? There was that, hold on. Gluttony, more, faster, 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 faster.
Materialism,
Right?
yeah, existence, yes.
You just slow it down. And I don't mean just, I have to take that word out of my vocabulary because see, I do it again. I minimize what something
I'm
is.
not changing you. You're
It's
perfect the way you are.
It's just this easy. Just do this, just do that. No, this path is
The other
not,
word that people use too,
what
you
is it?
should.
Oh gosh,
Should.
get rid of that word.
Eliminate should.
Should. If so, should comes up a lot. Who's shooting on you? Usually it's us shooting on ourselves. Regret, resent. Oh, I should do this because so and so wants me. I should do this because it's good for this. If your energy is not dedicating itself to doing something, when you should on it, you're just shaming it. You have to wait. You have to take care of your heart enough and yourself and follow the energy of what you need to do instead of desensitizing yourself and being like the whip. You're whipping the horses. You need to do this. You need to do this. Now we need to do that. Like you have to really soften.
You got to be more gentle on yourself.
That's it.
More
so
gentle
you
on yourself.
soften.
Yes.
So when we run into energies around us that are a little heavier, all of a sudden, you know, our bodies will react to it. We won't like it. Something. So what is the answer? You have to soften and get behind your heart in order to move.
People are too hard on themselves sometimes.
Oh yeah. It happens to all of us. It's what? It's called being human.
Yes.
Is I should be this, I need to do that, and then I need to do that. And before you know it, every year goes by and you lose yourself in what you should be doing, which isn't necessarily making you happy. It's just a should. So, and I know there are things that we need to do for sure every day, right? Brush your teeth, get something.
The routine,
yeah.
The shower routine, the crying, that's a should. No, to open your heart, that's one way.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea as an empath because you just are going to get dirty. You're going to get very dirty and you're going to get very heavy.
Visualize that white light around you. Visualize that negativity going down the drain. You know, be grateful. Oh, above all, be grateful. And when you're in bed at night,
it changes the chemistry of what you're looking at.
Yeah, we create our own reality.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, believe in who you are and what you are, who you are. You are unique to who you are. There's nobody like you. There never will be. So be your own existence, and everybody else should have that frame of mind for who they are, because once you're happy with who you are, you radiate and you have that impact that ripples around everybody.
So
it just goes.
When you hold that, or you can be that, that should be the goal, to hold it and to be spirit. What other people are is not necessarily your concern.
Correct. They're on their own path. You should support them. You should love them regardless.
Right.
If they ask for advice,
you should love them regardless. See, we need to take the should completely out of everything. Because the ideal is to love them regardless. But guess what? When we can't step into that, or when something becomes too atrocious for us or too difficult for us, we have to step back in order to gain access to ourselves again, center, get back to balance, and then get to it again, try it differently. So, you know, you
can't superimpose yourself on anybody. We have free will, free choice. That's spiritually given to us by divine. You can offer what you have within you, but if they're not ready, don't exert your energy. Bring your energy back to yourself. I explain that too. Close that circuit of energy. When you're giving, you more or less have to bring it back to you. If there's a physical, some of you are hands-on, make sure that you clean yourself off, but at the same time, make sure that you bring the circle back. If you're shaking a hand, make sure you pull your hand on top of it to encircle that energy back to you. The energy exchange is extreme out there. You know, you feel it when you get a good hug. You know, it's embracing.
Oh, you do. And I do wish that, I'm going to put it out to the universe, that more on this area of healing comes to the forefront.
Oh,
Because spiritual energy in and of itself will help you with healing. But then there is, there's a chemical, physical aspect to us as well. We eat food, there's
human existence,
relationship with other people. All of that stuff can either help you or hinder you. And it's very real. It's palpable. You can't be spiritual in a vacuum and think that in and of itself is going to make your life work. You have to be human. Being human is mental, emotional.
you have no choice.
Spiritual, all of it. Well, you could lock yourself in the room and think that you're a monk and this is my life and everything is fine, but we are all engaging in relationships with people, responsibilities, stresses, family, DNA, trauma, things that we're trying to shift and change.
Yes.
And it starts and it stops when we look at ourselves. We can certainly learn to speak and share as appropriate as it feels safe to us to do that. But when we focus on ourselves and our own growth and what we're learning, there we got it.
When you speak from the heart, you can't go wrong. If you're speaking from here, it leaves a lot of room for misinterpretation. But the heart is pure.
Now, okay, that whole misinterpretation, I want to just circle back to that. So when you speak from the heart and you tell someone from the heart, would you please do such and such and such for me? And someone takes your words,
yes,
and sees them, you trigger them.
But is that a request from the heart? Oh, speaking from the heart, I guess, could be more supportive rather than for personal gain.
Speaking from the heart can be more supportive rather than personal gain. Right. It should be. It's when you speak from the heart, there is no criteria to it. It's just love coming to another person. Yes. I guess my point is you can be this heart-centered, loving person saying a loving thing to a person, but how that person receives that or doesn't receive that is not your responsibility. You live here.
Perfect.
Okay?
Yes.
You do your thing.
You have to exist for you.
Yeah. Because sometimes, so when you're speaking from the heart, your energy is really beautiful. But if someone's holding a lot of anger, resentment, is very heavy, when they come into contact with heart, they may actually react to that because it doesn't feel right to that. Like it's threatening to them.
It can go either way.
It can go either way.
Right? Yes. Yes. And that's a challenge for an empath. Right. Because at that point, when you have that collision, because you're providing that aura and substance of love and heart, they're either going to absorb it and soften and share, or they're going to put the wall up. When you feel the wall come up, you're going to know it, because it's like hitting a wall. And at that point, it's no longer in your capability because they're not ready. It's when you should reserve your own energy and recognize that it's not time for them. And that's okay, because we are in a shift of dimensions right now. And we're trying to, part of that collection, that conscious collection right now is to bring as many individuals on board that we need to make the shift in our environment, in our society, in a global spectrum for the betterment of what's to come.
And not to be afraid of speaking that. We don't have to speak an elaborate amount. Sometimes it's just a little bit of food, just a little bit of this great energy towards you focusing on what somebody does really well, like giving them the space to learn and grow. So it's hard because if someone can't receive the love you give them, oh, this is too sweet, I can't handle you, you're just way out in left field, right? But if you can connect with them and see what it is, just a little bit of a touch, they might be able to receive that. They might not be able to receive all. Right.
You can do that with a smile.
Yeah.
I try to smile all the time. I mean, not always smiling. I mean, there are times when, you know, you can't, but just a smile. I do want to say something I didn't share with you. You know how I said cry in a shower? I've been doing that for years. And recently, probably 3 months ago, and this was so profound, you're going to think I'm nuts. It was so profound that after a good cry, I had this euphoric moment. And as weird as it was, I felt I merged with my existence in the shower. The shower head and I became one. It was like I was floating. So profound was it that I took a picture of the shower head so I'd remember it. And I had said to a colleague, I'm trying to get back to that. And they said, why are you trying to go back to it? Try to make it forward. Like, good point. So I'm trying to recreate that. But the point being is that there is a point where you have actually purged yourself to a point of euphoric state that your existence is blended with everything around you.
Yes. Yes, there is.
And
Because
that
everything
right
is
there
one. Everything is one.
is one. Is one. You are at that point. I am. And I'm praying for everybody, viewers and all, that and sending intent that they at some point in their lives through this process have that euphoric state where that aha moment of achievement is there. And to maintain that by living in the moment with excitement is there. And if nobody's aware of this, there's a symbol. It's called the Unalome, Unalome. It's a Buddhist symbol. And it starts with birth, let's say, and there's a trail of swirls and twists and turns representing the traumas and the impacts and challenges through our life. But it straightens out when you get that moment of enlightenment, that aha moment, and it starts putting you on your spiritual path to the end, okay, which is represented by the lotus or a dot or multiple dots, because as I wrote in my little poster that I created for it is, does it ever really end? I think we come back and we live it over and over again until we get it right, you know, the lessons learned. But I recommend everybody take a look at the Unalome, Unalome. And when you look at it intuitively, you're going to just about know where you are on that path. You're going to feel it. You're going to sense it.
I'll write it down. Unalome.
Yes, Unalome. It's a Buddhist symbol.
Unalome. Okay.
Yeah. And for tattoo lovers, you're going to love it. Trust me. You can top it off with a lotus if you want, but I like the dot because I like to keep it simple. But that euphoric state, and I had to share that with you too, because I know we talked about so many things, but I want to thank you again.
I want to thank you for being here. This has been wonderful.
Your pleasure. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Maybe we'll have to do this again.
Yes, yes, yes. All right, everyone. Till next time, I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Stay.